Yeah, g'day everyone, and welcome back to the Gold Coast Titans Frontline podcast. Dane here from Clarkey's Rugby League column. Today will be a solo pod. Russ is unavailable, so definitely we'll be looking forward to the comments rolling in, hopefully here on Facebook or on the Gold Coast Titans Frontline YouTube, and we'll also be on my Facebook page. I'm going to share it now into the Titans groups. Hopefully we can get some Titans members in for this particular one, guys. A tough week for the club, no doubt about that. A tough week. If you're just joining now, just to quickly recap, it will be a solo pod. We will not have Blake on tonight. He is unavailable, but that's okay. We will appreciate the comments even more. Let's move straight into. I can see a fair few people on Instagram asking questions. Guys, it's a Titans-specific podcast, so if it's not specific to the Titans, unfortunately, I won't be able to get to that. Let's go straight into grading our performance. Look, really simple, guys. This week I have to give us a D-. I thought it was a really, really poor week, and I'm interested to see if you guys graded any higher. I think D- is probably fair under the circumstances where this was the first game this year where we were favourites and we were expected to win and we should have won. And we failed to turn up. And I don't think it's so much as simple as saying, well, we missed the mark this week, because as we know as Titans fans, there is underlying pain of missing the mark for so many seasons now. Sam Mercer from YouTube, welcome to the live stream, mate. He says, yes, it was very disappointing. And Far North Queensland Outdoor Adventures, hopefully we learned from it, mate. I absolutely agree. So I've got a D-, guys, for my grading this week. If you guys grade it any differently, please do let me know. But it's, tough to rate it anything higher than that for me at this stage. Into our Titans news segment, guys. Tino Fa'asuamaleaui has been charged with a grade 2 careless high tackle. He will likely enter an early guilty plea, which will be a 1-game suspension. So we will be without the big fella this round against the Dragons. Really big loss there. We are expected to welcome Sam Verrills back from his hip injury and Jojo Fafita from his thigh injury. So we will have 2 inclusions there, hopefully. Lofiana Khan Pereira is reportedly still 2 weeks away with that calf strain, and Kieran Foran is roughly 4 weeks away with his pec injury. Other big bit of news for the club, guys, over the weekend, Zane Harrison. A lot of people think this guy is the future of the Titans. I am one of those people. I'm really high on this guy. Probably liken his junior career so far to Lachlan Galvin. They won a lot of the same things, such as the junior schoolboys competition. Zane Harrison was the MVP in that game also. And he made his Queensland Cup debut and scored for Tweed. So congratulations to Zane. That is absolutely awesome. My understanding from speaking to people at Tweed was the plan was to debut him later this year. So potentially his form in the Malmaninga Cup was so awesome that they just had to promote him. But either way, it is absolutely awesome. Kepu Onatam from Instagram says, honestly, the Titans were just battling a team that needed a win. I will push back and disagree there, mate. I don't think it's as simple as saying the Dolphins were the more desperate side here. I think if you look at the Eels and the Dragons game, which we saw just before our game, that was a side there in the Eels that was desperate to win and overcame a side in the Dragons that missed their execution. But we were worse than the Dolphins in every single area. I don't think they were a desperate side that was the reason they won. We were literally worse than the Dolphins in every single area. So really, really poor week for the club. Yeah, Far North Queensland Outdoor Adventures also notes that it was a poor effort, possibly finding Desi over giving his opinion on the rules. He didn't even bag out the ref, and I agree with you completely there, Corey. For me, I think that what we got this round was a completely different set of rules in the NRL compared to last round. Now, I don't fundamentally disagree with changing the rules how they have. But I think you need to start that in round 1. You need to be consistent. You can't kind of pull the trigger as we move into round 5. I think that's a little bit too late. So, unfortunately there. But yeah, hopefully Desi doesn't get a fine, mate. Let's move into the game-specific review part of the podcast now, guys. As we know, the Dolphins downed us 36 points to 10. My biggest takeaway for you guys in this one was this was the most standard Titans trend of a performance of all time. Now, hear me out, guys. How many times in the past have we as a club won a few games and we all start to genuinely question, can we be consistent this year? Can we live up to our potential? And we did that as fans, and we were feeling it. And then the players, it almost seems they get ahead of themselves, and they don't focus on the task at hand, and they start to believe that they are these superstars and get this wrong mindset because they seriously turned up with the wrong attitude. The side that we saw against the Dolphins this round was not the same side that we saw win the last 2 weeks against the Roosters or Knights. This Dolphins side has really struggled with their attack, and we were really good defensively the past fortnight. The hammer. Guys, he didn't even have line break, and he still doesn't have a line break this year. He's been very quiet. He scored in the first 10 minutes on us whilst Tino was off the field, and that just sums it up for me, guys. And it's not easy enough to say, well, that was a forgettable night for the Titans, because we've been through this so many times as Titans fans. It was unforgettable. It was the opposite. We're all feeling deja vu. And so I'm not sitting here taking shots at the players or trying to be overly negative, but just venting from a fan's perspective. It didn't feel like we got the same 17 players last Saturday, the previous game against the Dolphins than we had the last 2 weeks. And so I just read this book for too many times now, guys. I'm bitterly disappointed. On one hand, I think, well, you should expect this by now. On the other, I'm like, when will things change? When will things get different, rather? Because I don't think that this is an outlier. I don't think this is something that we couldn't sense as a potential coming into this game. And so it was really, really disappointing. Jesse Shields, welcome to the podcast from Facebook. He says the ref couldn't keep the whistle out of his mouth. Oh, my days, it was atrocious. And usually I'd agree with you, Jesse, but I just feel we didn't help ourselves either. And so we could sit here as Titans fans and say, well, we got a little bit unlucky with how the game was refereed. But I think there's more to it than that. I don't think it's as simple as that. I don't think it's as simple as we got blown out of the game by the referee. I think we played ourselves out of the game with the wrong attitude, and the refereeing was simply just one component to the loss. Jacob Wynn from Facebook, welcome to the podcast. He says that was highly disappointing to take a step back. 2-2 is decent after 4, and desperate winless teams are a handful. Very, very true there, Winnie. Very disappointed to take a step backwards from a Titans perspective when we were starting to take a lot forward. And Far North Queensland Outdoors Adventures from YouTube says they get overconfident, thinking they can't lose. They can't do that. They have to play what they are fighting to get away from the wooden spoon. I agree with you completely there, Corey. It's the mentality that was wrong in this game. We, as the Titans, with where our roster is at the moment, we cannot have a rock star mentality. We can never rock up and feel the game's already won. And we didn't do that the past fortnight. We were underdogs in both, and we came out on top because we had that real in-the-trenches mentality. So unfortunately, we weren't able to get the job done there. But as I said, guys, I don't think it's as simple as saying the referees blown us out of the game. I don't think it's as simple as saying the Dolphins were desperate. They were better than us in every single area. And so every player that took the field there realistically needs to, really just take a look at themselves and ask, what do we want to be this year? Do we want to be another side that floats and is inconsistent throughout and has great purple patches and then lets ourselves down? Because I know from a fan's perspective, and I don't want to speak on behalf of the Titans fan base, but we don't want that as fans. We want a team that we can be proud of every single week, win, draw, or lose. We don't care about the result, but the effort was lacking and the intensity wasn't there. And that's why it's so disappointing and a bitter pill to take. Welcome to Rhonda, a key member of the Frontline. She asked my thoughts on the Bo careless tackle charge. Really silly. That felt like a forced. It felt very forced. I think all people that watched that game would have gone, "What a brilliant try-saving tackle!" Somehow there's a small incidental contact to the head with no relative force, and we penalise it. That's a great rugby league tackle, as Des Hasler said in the post-game press conference. If it was any round that we've seen so far this year besides round 5, he would have been rapped by the commentators and everyone would have said, wow, what a brilliant defensive effort. Instead, the NRL powers to be decided to change the rules this round, and Bo was penalised there, which I thought was rubbish. A really, really poor call. But yeah, guys, just as my final point, I will say, there was a lot of external components against us. We lost players late. We had to shuffle Bo into the centres. The referees weren't so kind to us. Tino went off early from a call that wouldn't have been a sin bin in previous weeks. A lot went wrong. But how we responded as a team, I felt wasn't good enough. I know we're better than that, and that's why it's so disappointing. Let me go into our 3-2-1 segment here, guys. I'll give you my 3-2-1. I'll also give you Russ's 3-2-1 because he is unavailable and can't be here with us tonight. Now, for Russ, his 3 points went to Philip Sami, his 2 points went to Jalen de Groot, and his 1 point went to Tino. My 3-2-1, guys, I gave my 3 points to Tino Fa'asuamaleaui. Look, he had the sin bin. It was unfortunate. We did only concede one try in that time, and I felt when he came back on the field, he more than made up for it statistically wise and impact wise. So the sin bin hurt, but Tino, our leader, did come back and make up for it. My 2 points goes to Philip Sami. Again, just taking the tough carries, giving our forwards a rest so they can defend stronger. It doesn't matter whether he's playing centre or wing. He is always looking for work, and I really appreciate that aspect of Philip Sami's game. And number one, I have, for my 1 point rather, I have AJ Brimson. Definitely not AJ's best performance. I don't think he facilitated others as a 5/8 too well, but still a better effort than a lot of players on our team, guys. Go ahead if you're on the live stream and let me know your 3-2-1s in the comment section. I'll move us over to our affiliates recap, guys, where at this point we go through our affiliates and we'll let you know how they went. Our Tweed Seagulls, if you guys got to see us earlier, you would have watched their game. Unfortunately, they went down to the PNG Hunters, 26 points to 20, and the Jets also went down to the Burleigh Bears, 36 points to 16. So our club officially goes 0-3, and not a good week for the club under any circumstances. But here is a really serious shining light for you guys. Zane Harrison, one of the most promising halfbacks in the country right now, who is signed with us. He made his Queensland Cup debut, as I said earlier in the show. He scored a try. He broke 5 tackles, made a line break, and had 22 tackles for 1 missed. That is a brilliant showing from a teenager making his debut against a really tough footy side in the PNG Hunters. And he's not facing boys in that league. He's facing men, and the PNG boys are built tough. They can whack. So brilliant stuff there by Zane Harrison. Tukey Simpkins, 13 hit-ups for 170 metres, 2 offloads, 22 tackles, but did miss 5 there. Alan Fitzgibbon, and I did see Jesse Shields ask if he's eligible to debut. He is eligible to come in if we need him. 9 runs for 94 metres, no other attacking stats, but no missed tackles or no errors. Josiah Pahul, who made his return, guys. He played 42 minutes for the Jets, but he only had 3 hit-ups for 56 metres, 18 tackles for 1 missed, and no other attacking stats. So Josiah probably just finding his feet after being out for a number of weeks there. And Ryan Foran shifted to back row. He had a try, 5 hit-ups for 94 metres, 3 tackle breaks, a line break, 20 tackles for 2 missed. My affiliate player of the round is most certainly Zane Harrison. Really, really impressed with him, guys, and really, really looking forward to him. Tukey Simpkins, I felt he did enough, but the 5 missed tackles will be an interesting point for the coaches. And I guess I'll just reiterate with Josiah Pahulu. 42 minutes, but only 3 runs and 18 tackles. I think he's probably needs to build his match fitness in Queensland Cup before we look to get him back into the side, in my opinion. Alrighty, guys. At this stage, I would usually ask Russ if he has any changes to the team. He's not here, so I'll give you mine, and you are absolutely more than welcome to leave yours in the comment section as we go. I think with Sammy Verrills and Jojo expected back, the biggest thing is how do we replace Tino Fa'asuamaleaui? For me, I think we should shift Chris Randall to lock. He still has a high work rate rather, that Tino does have. Of course, not as much X factor as the big fella, but I think he can fill the role there at least for 1 week. For our bench, I think we probably need to keep Sean Mullaney on the bench there just so it gives us some cover. But we could go with 4 forwards because, of course, Chris Randall could shift from lock to hooker. So without a doubt, I think Brock Gray is still there. He was brilliant. I did see Brody Kemp gave him his 1 point. Great shout there. Jimmy Joloff, of course. And then we probably could look at giving Tukey Simpkins his club debut. I think it's between him and Josiah Pahulu, right? And we saw Pahulu via those stats has probably not had the right match fitness just yet with only 3 runs. Whereas Tukey Simpkins is a guy who's played in the Māori All-Stars. He's debuted for the Tigers before. So I think we could bring him straight in. And then it comes down to, do we want some cover there with Mullaney on the bench, or do we want to roll with 4 forwards and back Chris Randall to shift to hooker? So team list will be tomorrow, guys, roughly 22 hours from now, and we will eagerly await what side we roll out. All right, guys, let me roll into our game preview here. Friday, 6 p.m. We are versing the Dragons at Wollongong. And go ahead and drop your predictions here, guys. Do you think we can win this game? Do you think we can't? Do you have any keys to victory or anything you really want to see from the side? Because in my view, I think we're in trouble here. I think we are. Some of the major issues at the club kind of broke through the cracks last round, and now there are question marks, and our players need to respond. As I said, we didn't lose to a desperate Dolphins side. We lost in every single aspect of rugby league, and it was really demoralising. A lot of that, though, guys, I will use this as a silver lining for you all. A lot of it seemed to be an attitude thing. So that's potentially something that Des Hazard and our coaching staff can really drill into the players' mindsets and turn that around quite quickly. And if we're able to do that, it is certainly easier from a coaching perspective to work on a player's mindset and get them confident and ready to go, as opposed to technical issues where you need to drill them for multiple weeks, as opposed to defensive issues where you need to work those systems for many weeks. So because it seemed to be an attitude issue, guys, it could almost be a silver lining for us, and we could improve quickly. I'm going to call out Regan Campbell-Gillard here. I think it's time to step up, Reggie, especially in Tino's absence. We need you at the level you were at for the Eels last year when you won their best player of the season. In my opinion, he has not been at his best since joining us. I did say it's because he missed a lot of the preseason with that shoulder injury, I believe it was. But in my opinion, as a marquee signing, Reg, we need you at your best this week. We need you taking it to the Dragons, because if I look at the Dragons side and where I think they are most weak, it is around their forward pack. I think they're missing one or two quality forwards there. And with Tino gone, that really hurts us in that department. Of course, we know how valuable he is. So I really want to see RCG step up, be the leader that we know he can be. I'm not expecting prime RCG with Kangaroos or Blues form, but I want to see him tick over 100 metres this round. I want to see 30 tackles from Reg. I really want to see Reggie step up. Dave Fafita, a player who is very maligned by the media and us fans. You know, we don't do that. We don't attack our players here in the front line, but we do want to see Dave get more involved. Well, certainly I do. I feel for Dave. Look, it's really unfortunate right now because when Dave Fafita is at his best, he is being facilitated by Kieran Foran, who plays on that left-hand side, right? And at the moment, we have two halves in Jaden Campbell and AJ Brimson who are run-first halves. And so I feel like Dave is almost waiting for the perfect opportunity and saving himself and seeing when can I inject myself, you know, and that moment's just not popping up at the moment. Because when Dave's playing one out from the ruck, he's very predictable. It's very hard to break multiple tackles there. So I want to see Dave, instead of waiting for someone else to facilitate him, I really want to see Dave just go look for the ball. Just get through work, Dave. Forget the X factor. We need you to get through work this round, missing Tino. And that's what I really want to see from Dave in this one. Look, here's a stat for you guys as well. Tino had 4 times the runs Dave did last round against the Dolphins, and he played less minutes. Only slightly less minutes, only 2 minutes, but 4 times more runs than Dave. So I do want to see more from Dave this round, and we need it. We absolutely need more from Dave. I'll go to the comment section. Ryan says he'll get involved 2 weeks before Origin selection. Hopefully he can find his form a little bit sooner than that. Adam Hughes says Randall needs to play 9. I agree with you, mate. I think that's a great shout. Corey is tipping Jimmy Jolliffe to show up and have a big one. And Ben says that he thinks RCG has improved over the last 3 games. I would agree, and I want to see that trajectory continue for Big Reggie. On to where we're playing, guys, at Wollongong. Our last game here we did lose. It was Kieran Foran's 300th. We've had 7 starts in Wollongong. We've lost 6 and we've drawn 1. So we've never won at the venue. Both sides are coming off a loss. I think they're going to be a bit more hungrier than us. I just feel that they've had more doubters in the media and more criticism around their performances because they have been more consistently worse than ours, whereas we're looking to bounce back off 1 loss. I think if we lose here, then the critics will start to focus in on the Titans. Look, I probably expect about 20 or so points from both sides in this game. I think both sides have enough attack, and I think both sides aren't defending the best either based on last round. Now, what we really want to do in this game, guys, and one of my key to victories is always stay within the score. Like, if we can always stay within 12 points of the Dragons, we've seen them blow that lead twice this year. What we can't do is just get blown out early and expect a comeback. We need to make sure we're always on par with them and playing at that correct level. No Tino in the middle, of course. That is a huge workload to pick up for someone else. I'm not sure someone can, to be honest. So we do lose a fair bit in the middle. My keys to victory, though, guys, pressure their halves. Bring out the worst in a pair of Kyle Flanagan and Lachlan Ilias that isn't connecting and they're not executing right now. If we can pressure them, absolutely, they'll make errors, guys, particularly down the stretch when the pressure's on. We've seen them do it against the Rabbitohs this year, and we've seen Lachlan Ilias kick it out in the full last round against the Eels when the pressure was on. So if we can pressure their halves, that will absolutely be our key to victory. On the other side, with us with the ball in hand, I want to see us use the footy a little bit more. I want to see us play with some more confidence. I just felt last round with Jaden and Brimson, look, I understand they are run-first halves, but being a run-first half only works when you pass it occasionally, and it just felt they weren't facilitating others. They weren't connecting with each other on edges. It felt really disjointed, and I've said that throughout this season so far. I want to see our halves facilitate others, play with confidence. If we make an error, back ourselves to defend it, but we have to throw something, okay? Because I saw our halves throw a dummy and step back in far too many times against the Dolphins. It was predictable and it was obvious, and it was non-threatening. So we need to correct that part of our game and just play with confidence, boys. We've shown we can defend. If we make an error, let's D up and let's try again in the next set. Think of Latrell Mitchell last round, guys. Kicked it out in the full twice. His mindset wasn't, okay, I need to go back in my shell. I need to be safe and cautious here. His mindset was, how do I win this game for my team? Until he eventually came up with that match-winning play. And that's what we need from our halves. They've got great X factor between Brimson and Campbell. But when they try to play conservative, when they try to complete sets, kick for corners, we're not going to threaten teams. We have a halves combination that are both fullbacks, like Jerome Hughes and like Cameron Munster from the Storm. We need to look at how they play and try to emulate that almost, because they've had a lot of success there at the Storm with those over the years. So I think those are my keys to victory there, guys. That is how I want to see us play. I'll tell you guys straight, I'm probably just under a 5 out of 10 in this game. If you tell me you've got to name a tip, I will pick the Dragons because they are at home and I think they'll be more desperate. It could go either way, in my opinion, but if we get those keys to victory right, I think we will give ourselves a mighty fine chance. So if we can get them right, we can win this game, but it is going to be a tough one, guys. Alrighty, guys, that will be all for the Gold Coast Titans Frontline podcast today. We'll be back next week. Sorry I was a little bit late this week, but we'll be back Monday, 5:30 p.m. Queensland and New South Wales are now all on the same time, and we look forward to reading those comments and having Russ back next week. So thank you very much for tuning in, guys, and I look forward to seeing you then. Cheers.